making those connections, seeing them again. And those 2 days, that day was very memorable to me because I used that day and used that knowledge I gained from that day for my future events. And I could tell that they really appreciated that. To me, success is measured by what comes after.
Inform, connect, inspire. The Post Podcast.
Welcome to the Post Podcast, where we aim to inform, connect, and inspire our community members. I'm your host, Dean Ali, and today on our very first episode, I would like to introduce Seyon Shivamohan.
Yeah, we could have worked on it.
Okay,
It's fine.
Okay, as long as I didn't butcher it. Anyways, Seyon here is an esteemed member of our staff, as well as an influential member of our community, who's part of several programs, as well as the Moss Park program, and a couple others going on in our neighborhood. Anyway, Seyon, welcome to the neighborhood.
Thank you for having me here.
Of course. So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well,
You got
No, please.
you got a good gist of what I really do, and I really love what I do. I've been in the community for about like 2.5 years, I would say now, and I love being here. It's funny. Back in high school, I had no idea what I was gonna do in the future, but I feel when it comes to these kind of things, you kind of just have to look at your core values and what you really care.
Yeah.
And that kind of for me was just whatever I wanted to do, I wanted to make sure I'm either helping or entertaining people. I wanted to make sure everything I do is something more different, something more unique, something more fun every time I did it. So it doesn't get stale, And that's what kind of got me into event planning. And that's what I took in school. And during school, I did a co-op program. And that's kind of how I got to this place. I got through co-op. I got the job somehow. I don't know what Gladys saw in me, but she thought I was a great fit for the group, and here I am.
Nice. Okay. So, I have a few questions for you today. Obviously, today's our first episode, and
Oh wow, first episode!
yeah,
Well, what an honor for me to be here.
man,
It's actually on my bucket list of things to do.
really. Matter of fact, it's also on my bucket list. I've always wanted to start a podcast, but now that I'm actually here, I feel like it's a lot more work. A lot more work than I gave credit for, But now that I'm here, it's nice to actually be filming and be a part of something, informing the community and whatnot.
Hey, it's all about starting, Just
Precisely.
getting there. Courses always could be hard and difficult when starting anything new, but hey, to both of us, to new beginnings,
To new beginnings, sponsored by NIP.
So, what questions do you have for me?
All right, let's get into it. So, what are some of the programs that you offer? What do you do in the community and stuff like that?
Well, this past year, 2024 is coming to an end. So, yeah, honestly, we did a lot of cool and fun stuff this year. We had the Moss Park Summer Festival. We did, I started a new, actually, group, a community group called Community Connect. And we ran, a bunch of different events. It'll be, a bi-weekly kind of events that I do.
Okay, tell me a bit more about that.
The first time was bingo, right? And basically, I realized in the beginning, it was really hard to get people to come out. Before I even did the bingo, it was just getting people, community members to come out because people are busy, time don't work with people. There's not enough incentive to come out because people just have lives and things to do,
Yeah.
So what I realized is I had to give them a reason to come out. So I was talking to community members for what could they get out of it and what could make them come out, And, I did bingo, make sure there's prizes, make sure there's a lot of food available.
Right.
And then the food I actually got, I made sure it was actually made from a community member,
Nice.
And they helped me bring people too. It was like a kind of a trade of, hey, you get me people and I'll order food from you kind of thing, It was a give and take, right?
Trade off.
Exactly. And in terms of, it went perfectly, They were happy, that they got some cash and they had a fun time at the event as well. And now it's been on bi-weekly. And because some of those people that came, they reached out to me like, hey, it was a fun time at bingo.
Nice.
And then I just started continuing rolling with that group I got. Make sure to get their numbers, contacts, and just sometimes I'll message them, call them. But you like make sure you keep in contact,
Yeah.
making sure checking up on them, and after bingo, we did trivia. And trivia was a hit.
Okay.
Oh, I love trivia. Now, when I was planning for trivia, like I made sure to find the most fun question because like I also had to look at the demographic that I was working with, what kind of types of people, that I'm dealing with. So I mostly made those questions toward their demographic, and they loved it. They loved it to the point where at the end, one of the ladies actually came up to me and asked, "Could I actually get those questions?" And actually, like 1 week ago, she came to one of my recent events. We were doing like ornament painting,
Okay.
and she
Like
had
Christmas ornaments, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, yeah. She came to the event and she actually brought her daughter, and her daughter started talking to me like, "Oh my god, yeah, my mom brought me these trivia questions. I answered. They were pretty hard. They were pretty unique." And I was like, it felt really good when
Yeah.
people like come up to you and like talk about how happy they were to be part of the band that you ran, took put a lot of your time and effort into. It's a good feeling because like these events, as much fun as they are to plan, it's the feeling of, hey, some people got out of it, something fun, amazing, a good time, and they can inspire it to other people. Those good emotions. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I'm so grateful that Neighborhood Information Post actually like lets me run these programs.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's kind of like the main premise of, what part of our organization does is just we try to, do things and instill good values in the community. So yeah, do you have any like upcoming projects that you have or anything in particular in mind that like you're excited about or anything like that?
Well, 2025, I do have a few things in mind. The most recent thing I'm planning actually in the moment is for another project for Community Connect.
Okay.
We're running a program. It's for have you heard of code names?
Mm.
Have you heard of code names? It's basically a game where two groups of people, like two different teams, they have like a leader. All right. And this leader kind of basically gives like a clue. Like so there'll be a bunch of words on the board, and both teams have like words that your team wants to get. Only the leader knows. So for example, like there'll be some blue words, there'll be some red words, right? And the blue team wants to get the blue words, the red team wants to get the red words. Okay. So by doing that, they can't say the exact word that's on the board, but they can use like, for example, here, like fruits. Let's say fruits. Let's say you see apple and banana there, right? And that is your cards. So you say one word, fruit. I'm sorry, two words, fruit. So then, your team will look at the board. Oh, shoot, I see banana and apple. It's probably those words that I have to get. That's kind of the gist of the game. Whoever gets their cards the fastest wins.
Okay.
But you also have to remember there's a black card. If any team gets the black card, they instantly lose. So you have to be careful what words you say and don't say.
Okay. And in terms of like the demographic for who you're trying to like involve in this program, what's that looking like?
Right now, surprisingly, I just kind of like left it open to anyone that wants to join
Okay.
Community Connect. But right now, all I have are like, let's say like middle-aged women that tend to be more interested. I got a few like I would say like university girls coming too. But yeah, for some reason I'm not really many guys are coming, which is kind of I mean, but
Doesn't really stray from the norm much. Guys typically think they're too cool for programs and such. I had to follow
I
up.
mean, would you come to one of my events? Maybe.
I will see why not. If I'm not too busy, I mean, typically on weekdays I'm, relaxing, but if it's on a weekend or something like that, I don't see why not at all.
I mean, yeah, you said you're busy. Like, what kind of work do you do? Like you said, what part of the work field are you in?
I particularly work in the Toronto Rent Bank. I'm an intake worker, and I essentially just assist people with their rental arrears. And yeah, that's just a little bit about what I do.
How was that? Like, what actually got you into it?
Realistically speaking, I was initially referred to the job by a friend of mine, and he let me know that they were looking to fill a vacancy, and I've always wanted to be a outreach worker in particular. That's actually what I wanted to do for my career, and it was kind of like I always like ridiculed myself for it being too vague. because outreach worker could be associated to so many different things. But
Many options.
the main thing is that I want to make a difference in the community, and I feel like I guess the main premise of what I've always wanted to do was work with like underprivileged families or underprivileged children, people who might not have certain opportunities available to them. And even though my current job description doesn't really fall under that category, just even being able to assist and help people, it's just it's something that I've always wanted to do, and I feel like it incentivizes me a lot, gives me purpose, you know.
Is that what made you think of the podcast too?
I've always loved the idea of doing a podcast because I'm a talker. So sometimes I just, I fancy the idea of just getting on a podcast and just yapping. So
Yeah, there's so much fun you can do and talk about, right? There's so many
yeah,
fun and unique topics. And honestly, I think it's a great idea that you started it. And no, so maybe this can help people in different ways too, you know? You can maybe advertise like good connections in the community, find different outlooks.
going back to the community conversation, I wanted to ask, like, what's your method of contact for like reaching out to these people and letting them know about these programs?
So one thing about community work, there's always those few individuals
Mm.
that know everyone. Somehow, I don't know how they know everyone, but they know everyone.
Yeah.
So as a community worker, an event planner, your whole thing is be very connected with those people. Those people are very extroverted people, and they know how to talk, they know how to get people out. If you have good connections with them, you have good connections with everyone, really. Nobody's ever far reach when you're able to contact them. But yeah, like connecting with them, and like I said, it's all about incentives. You know, people are busy,
Yeah.
people have to have reasons and purposes. So like
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Do you like send out like do you send out mail? Do you send out emails? Like
I usually get either whatever contact they feel comfortable with. You know,
okay.
as an event planner, yeah, be good with anything. Either that be Instagram, it can be phone numbers, emails. Like I have a bunch of contacts with different people in different ways. So like if you ever see me in the office, sometimes you see me on my laptop and randomly you see me on my phone. Like you see me emailing, calling. It's like I'm all over the place. Like it looks like I'm a mess, but that's as an event planner, you have to do what's comfortable to them.
Yeah, and be flexible.
You have to be flexible. You have to be understanding of their time and what is good for them, which I don't really mind. You know, it's at least I do different things. You know, like I said, I don't mind. It just sad when I don't get replies as fast as I would like.
What's your turnout? Like how many people usually show up to these programs on average?
So actually, when I first began this, like just doing events and programs in the community, there were some times where like nobody came. I mean, one or two people came. And those were dark times, I can't lie. Those were times I was like, what am I doing wrong? Like, why aren't people coming? I advertise, I talk to some people, and people just not coming. And like, going back to the bingo, that's when I kind of realized that not only can you just like tell people, you have to give them a little bit of incentives, like food or
Yeah.
maybe like all like prizes and stuff. And then not just like advertising, because to be honest, most of the clients I've made were just like contacting them and talking to them, going to different events and just meeting them. Right. And then they would start spreading the word. Like to be honest, I think they had like their own way of contacting each other. So I'll just tell them, hey, I'm running this event, what's going on. I'll also do a poster and everything, and they'll contact each other. But now I finally made a WhatsApp group.
Okay.
What their phone numbers, and I added them all into the group. And now I just post everything there.
So I feel like we talked briefly about this already, what with the challenges and stuff with contacting people and, getting people to show up, getting good turnout, stuff like that, and just trying to incentivize the community to actually show up for themselves and whatnot. So what are some other challenges that you think you faced when planning these programs and trying to facilitate them? Like what are some of the challenges you faced?
Some of the challenges is just I'm a person that like really likes being, what's the word I'm looking for, very specific, as in like I want to meet your needs, because this like to me community events, it's not about me, it's about the people, right? Outside the city, right? So I always try like, oh, I want to make sure, example, like the Tim drinks, I want like tomorrow drinks, I want to make sure they're getting what they want. I want to make sure they're getting where the food items, the prizes. Like I remember at first I just did Tim Hortons gift cards. I thought that'd be fine. Like, that was it. But then, I talked to the more community and like, oh, they rather have grocery gift cards, which is perfectly fine. I mean, now I know, right?
Yeah.
It's just about the beginning is always gonna be tough, but once you get to that core group, and start to understand, doing little polls, doing casual discussions with them,
Yeah.
just to kind of understand what they like. It's just about knowing your community.
Yeah.
Once you get those kind of things, it makes it easier. But like, yeah, I just like being very specific and making sure as many people as I can get their needs satisfied.
Okay.
And I'm honest, one of my favorite like events, honestly, was we actually had to do a field trip
Okay.
to where it's a distillery district. I don't know if you have you heard.
I know what a distillery is, but I don't think I've ever, I'm not familiar.
It's not too far away from here. It was like, I think, what, a 20-minute walk from here.
Okay.
Right. It was really fun. We like explored the area. We got some food. We got drinks. We got like hot chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I gave them hot chocolate, which is nice. And one I always remember this one thing. One of the community members said to me.
Mm.
She was like, she's like a little older lady. I think she's around her mid-50s or 60s.
Okay.
That she doesn't really get to leave the house that often, right? And this kind of gets her to come out and talk to people. Like, she gets so happy to do these events. And sometimes she'll even message me on like casually. I'll message her back. Like,
That's nice.
thank you so much for these like activities. Like that like itself like really spoke to me. Like someone really loves coming to these activities.
It makes a difference.
Human connection is important. When I tell them, oh, we're not doing it next week. Like because of those comments, I'm just like, oh, now I want to do it weekly. It's doing my weekly, I mean, right now the funding, okay,
Yeah.
right?
It's all good. But like human connection is very important, and for somebody to be able to get out of the house and for you to be able to incentivize them to actually join these programs and whatnot, it's really good. So I feel like just typically with anything in general, the startup is always going to be the hardest part. You're obviously going to go through your fair share of trials at whatever point throughout whatever process, but starting is always the most difficult part.
It's always the best thing to do, to be honest, though. And hey, like, think about it. Like, these podcasts aren't even like YouTube videos or wherever you get your information. Learning from people that have done what you have done and learning from their failures and experiences, so you don't make those mistakes again. But
Exactly.
yeah, you watch some of those videos, get some insights, and then when you actually do it, you'll learn. And you can use those insights to help you further whatever you're doing.
Yeah. Speaking of furthering, how do you think technology and social media could work to benefit community building efforts? And how do you
That's the thing, to be honest with you. Because with social media, I'm able to reach much, much more people. And with technology these days, like with AI, right, it makes life much more straightforward. Like when I'm doing like, thinking using I'm just trying to like do some write-ups and stuff, using technologies to make them more efficient, more clean. It's just very efficient.
Okay. So I guess you were talking a little bit about how that one lady in particular, you made a lasting impact on her and her experience with people and whatnot, and how she really enjoys the programs. So how do you measure the success of a community event or initiative like bingo? How would you measure the success of that bingo night? What do you use as like a benchmark for how successful a night like that would be?
Like those two stories I told you about two different individuals that really took a lot from the event. I measure the success not about how many, how big of a budget we got or how many fully amount of people show up. At least honestly, as long as 5 or 10 people show up, I'm happy. And the moments that they get from those experiences, when they talk about it, the smiles I see those days, that's what I feel like really helps out. That if you see them coming again,
Yeah.
if you see them reaching out to you again,
Yeah.
that's how I know it was successful.
Yeah.
You,
It made an impact.
yeah, I remember there was actually one event, a community connect. I tried a different location, and the location wasn't really suited for my community, which I learned. Only 2 people showed up. I don't know. I was getting 15, 10 people consistently, and one day just 2 people showed up, and I was like, wow. I had a whole plan ready. I got food and everything. Um, so I was a little touched by it. I was like, it sucks, but you gotta work with what you have. And
Yeah.
in that time, I just improvised like, hey, let's talk about what like the future of this program. Let's kind of like let me hear about Mario. So that's the day I actually got to know 2 members really well. And based off their comments, based off the past events with them, we just had a fun, good chat, and I got to really, really know them.
That's nice.
Right. So yeah, if you think about it, it was not technically wasn't a success, like in the sense of people didn't show up and I did like a lot of money was kind of wasted in that event. But making those connections, seeing them again, and those 2 days, that day was very memorable to me because I used that day and used that knowledge I gained from that day for my future events, and I could tell that they really appreciated that their thoughts and their presence was done. So to me, success is measured by what comes after.
Yeah.
So that's how I'll measure it.
Okay. I feel like just to add to that, I feel like even a small failure is a little success in a way because kind of shows you, I guess, the path to take to not have that happen again. You know what I mean? Every failure is a learning experience. Pretty much everything is a learning experience. Honestly, you learn from your victories.
There's no such thing as failing. It's all about what you take from that quote unquote fail, because any failure is success if you really think about it. If you're failing, that means you're progressing. So I agree with you on that. Like
It means you're trying.
exactly. And you can't do anything without failing, no matter what it is. Even the greatest people that you know at anything has failed. So you're failing. Hey, at least you're doing something. Just remember that.
Yeah. I'm a little bit more curious to know more about certain projects that you might be excited for per se, or things that might not be concrete in planning, but like you want to do sometime in the near or far future.
Oh well, not too much in concrete. I actually are trying to plan out the space in Moss Park.
Okay.
Like I don't know if you know 275 Schroeder Street around there.
Yeah.
We're trying to do a youth hub there actually. We're trying, still in the works, nothing concrete like you said. We are just in the talks, and if it goes well, we get the funding, we can make it happen. And then I'm gonna use that space for youth hub, and also when I do community connect, I can also do in that room.
Yeah, just like an open space. That's nice.
Exactly. I want to do like I have like a bunch of activities. Like I have so many activities I want to do. It's just space and time. So if I can get this space, I could see it going really far.
That's nice.
So another program we are actually starting that's for youth. It's from ages 12 to 18. It's supposed to be a continuation of the photo story project we worked on a year ago, and we're just continuing it because we actually made contact with Rosedale Heights Art School. If I read correctly, it's a high school.
Okay.
Yeah, we made a contact with them, and we're doing a collaboration project where I'm just reaching to students around Moss Park area from 12 to 18, and we're doing like 4 different things. I think it was like we got like photography, we got filmmaking. I think it was like what was it? It's like what's that called? Calligraphy, not calligraphy. It was like claying, like the clay. What's it called? Ceramics, ceramics, yeah, ceramics. Yeah, we had stuff like that, and we're gonna have these youths like sign up for this kind of activities, and we're gonna have like a 2-day workshop where they will have like professional teachers helping them
Nice.
with making the projects, and then we'll have a big event day where they can present it. I feel like it's a really big opportunity, and I hope a lot of youths do show up. I think we have like 40 slots opened. So if you're interested, contact me at Seyon at nip.org. So I'm gonna spell it out: Seyon, then at nipost.org. Otherwise, I think you have it somewhere here, the invitation for you to sign up at.
Editor. Is there any final thoughts you have to share with the neighborhood?
Oh, if, like I said with my socials, if you want to join any of these groups or communities, projects I have going on, the Community Connect, anyone could join.
We'll link his socials somewhere in the above.
We do a bunch of different games. Like I always plan something new each week. That's why I was like saying bingo and Jeopardy and stuff like that. I have like each bi-weekly we do something new and different, try to keep it fresh.
And stay tuned for the Youth Hub. Don't know when it's coming, but it's coming. Thank you, Seyon, for being the first part of our NI Post podcast. You have made history as the first NI Post interviewee. Congratulations.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
If you ever need a extra host, I'm always available.
Honestly, why not? We'll see.
Thank you for having me. It was great to be here. And, this was my first time being a guest too. So hopefully I didn't do too terribly. So I'm sorry if it sounds cringy, but we're happy to be here.
Thank you. And
you were awesome, by the way. You did great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. If anybody would like to sponsor us or be a guest on the podcast, you can reach out to us at podcast@nipost.org. That's podcast@nipost.org. It's going to be somewhere in the above area. This has been Dean Ali. It's been a pleasure being your host. This was my very, very first time, but you will see me again. Stay tuned for the next episode.